You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, Miami police helping a massive meth bust.
It's going to feel like fall's officially here for the next several days, but we've got a heat wave on the horizon. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, violence at a Joplin rally for abortion rights. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Miami police helped bust an alleged California drug kingpin accused of shipping thousands of pounds of methamphetamine to the 4-state area. Luis Alfredo Jacobo was accused of running drug rings that brought around 2,000 pounds of meth to northern Oklahoma and southwest Missouri. Jacobo was arrested on Monday in Bakersfield, California. One of the arresting officers is a member of the Miami Police Department. The Miami PD teamed up with police in Grove, the DEA, the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, and many other investigative agencies to bring Jacobo and his conspirators to justice.
They started this case, worked it here, worked the case backwards up through the kingpin, if you will, and flew out there with the DEA task force and finished up their case.
9 other people were arrested with Jacobo on various drug conspiracy and criminal enterprise charges, including William Donovan Johnson III and Shawnee Brianne Callaghy of Grove and Kelly Wayne Bryan of Joplin. Missouri's Child Welfare Agency does not properly report missing foster children, and that's according to a new federal report. The report from the U.S. Inspector General's office also found that the agency does little to ensure that kids who were missing and are found do not go missing again. Federal agency recommended that Missouri develop strategies for identifying foster children who are at risk of going missing and better monitor caseworkers to ensure they follow reporting requirements involving foster children. Reproductive rights rallies took place nationwide over the weekend, and these marches, organized by the Women's March, come after one of the most restrictive anti-abortion laws in U.S. history recently took effect in Texas. John Lawrence reports.
Women's rights are human rights!
That's the main message at more than 600 Rally for Abortion Justice marches Saturday in cities across the country.
The government has no right to control the freedom for women to make their own decisions about what to do about their health care.
Mail-order abortion drugs are now prohibited.
Last month, a Texas state law that bans abortions after 6 weeks.
Most people don't even know they're pregnant by the time they're 6 weeks.
With no exceptions for rape or incest went into effect.
What Greg Abbott and the Texas Republicans are trying to do is an open defiance of the Constitution, and they will hear our voices today, y'all.
The Supreme Court, which denied a request to block Texas's bill, returns Monday. Activists say they're worried other states will follow the Lone Star State's example and weaken Roe v. Wade, the 1973 landmark ruling.
I'm just curious what has changed in that time frame that makes our Supreme Court justices think that we have changed our minds about that.
Several anti-abortion events are also being held Saturday.
We're going to be there as a voice for pro-life women. It is up to all of us to make sure that women know that there is help for them.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Of course, one of those rallies was in Joplin, Missouri over the weekend. Organizers for the abortion rights rallies applied for a permit for 10,000 people in Washington, D.C. Virtual events are also being held. Plenty of people gathered in front of Ascension Via Christi in Pittsburgh Saturday afternoon to protest the hospital's vaccine mandate. Back in late July, the hospital network announced it would require its associates to be vaccinated against COVID-19. In a statement announcing the vaccine mandate, Ascension Via Christi said, quote, "This decision is rooted in our mission commitment to leading with quality and safety. As a healthcare provider and as a Catholic ministry, ensuring we have culture of safety for our associates, patients, and communities is foundational to our work." One of the protest organizers explains why so many people are opposed to the mandate.
We have come together and asked people to recognize that we have a right of choice, a right to decide whether or not to have the vaccine. We want to share who we are and our stories about why we're here, and just let people know that we feel that the right should be to choose and not be forced or mandated upon us.
Organizers said they'd protest rain or shine and did so until 3 Saturday afternoon. Are you feeling lucky? Well, you have another chance. Tonight's Powerball drawing is worth an estimated $670 million. The jackpot rolled over again after there was no winner in Saturday's drawing. Powerball has been rolling over for months. The jackpot was last hit in June. If someone wins tonight, they take home a lump sum, $475 million.
Yet.
I would not complain if that was me.
And so you say that you have plans after the KOAM news at noon?
To go to the gas station and make a purchase?
You will be purchasing do you have certain numbers that you draw, or do you do the random?
I play once a year probably in something like this, maybe once every 3 years, so no, just random.
I have played once in my life. Yeah, I've played one Powerball in my entire life. And so, yeah, I don't even know how many numbers you're supposed to pick.
I just say, just pick them. Just let it go random.
Right, I'm just like, you know what, if you're gonna do it, I might do it too.
Let's do it.
Why not? Why not? Do we have our station one going?
I'm
So
sure.
folks, we need a chip in here at the station, and so if you randomly see a day where there's nobody at the station, like the place is barren, and it looks like a ghost town,
Wait,
then we won Powerball.
I thought that was just the current pandemic scheduling, where everybody works from home. It's a ghost town. I'm sorry.
Oh, great. You're talking about pandemic and you got me over here coughing. How great did that look on live television? My apologies, everybody. Live look outside of Television City, where it's a rather cool morning. We've dropped as low as 48 in Neodesha and Parsons. Cassville and Monette were up around 59 and 60 earlier this morning, now down to 54, joining Carthage, Neosho, and Miami at that exact number. The Skywatch Storm Tracker with just a little bit of cloud cover up to the north. It certainly hasn't been anything to write home about. Patchy fog beginning to dissipate just a little bit, so that's a good sign as the national perspective keeps all of the rain activity really east of the Mississippi for today. Whole lot of sunshine, going to work up into the high 70s. It's really about 4 consecutive days of good fall weather. And with that, of course, always comes a shot of some scattered rain. That'll appear on Wednesday. Kind of kicks out of central Missouri here in a counterclockwise fashion. It kind of gets thrown at us, and it won't be widespread. Certainly won't be anything like what we saw last week. But there we are for Wednesday afternoon and evening. And then after that, there's actually a heat wave. Usually we talk about cold fronts following a storm system, not a storm system, any type of rain, anything like that. This will actually be a heat wave that'll get on us and almost turn us back into some summer-like temps here for the weekend.
Next, a potential breakthrough in the fight against COVID. And later, is enough being done to protect the environment? You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. New research shows racial and ethnic disparities in survival among childhood cancer patients in the United States. A new study from the American Cancer Society looked at data on children newly diagnosed with cancer from 2004 to 2015. Black and Hispanic patients had worse survival for childhood cancers compared to white patients. Researchers say socioeconomic status and health insurance contribute to these disparities. Possible breakthrough in the treatment of COVID. Drug maker Merck says early results of an experimental COVID-19 pill are encouraging. Naomi Reckham has the latest.
Pharmaceutical company Merck is reporting promising results with the experimental COVID-19 drug Molnupiravir. The drug company looked at 775 adults with mild to moderate COVID-19 at high risk for severe disease. The patients who received the antiviral pill took it within 5 days of symptoms.
They were given twice a day Molnupiravir and dramatically, by 50%, reduced hospitalization and death. So an oral pill that works against COVID-19 hospitalization.
Dr. David Agus is a CBS News medical contributor. He says the new pill could be a big step forward because current COVID-19 therapies in the U.S. for non-hospitalized patients require a trip to a medical facility.
We can start to prescribe it to patients rather than them having to come into an emergency room and be given intravenous therapy of an antibody or a shot of an antibody. They can get a pill. And so this certainly makes it much easier to treat and in the end will probably save many lives.
An independent group of experts recommended to stop Merck's trial because the results are so favorable. The company says it plans to submit its data for FDA review in the coming days. Other companies, such as Pfizer and Roche, are testing similar drugs that could also report results in the coming weeks. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Earlier results show the drug did not offer benefits for patients hospitalized with severe disease. Well, the neighborhood social networking site Nextdoor has just launched its annual Halloween treat map. The company is urging people to use the map to share their plans for the holiday. Nextdoor says the map is their most popular seasonal feature. This year, they partnered with Reese's brand to guarantee more treats than tricks. The site says if you plan on handing out treats, then put the candy icon next to your home. If you are decorating, use the haunted decor icon to attract fright seekers. And if you're doing both, select the ghost icon.
That's very confusing.
Okay.
Yeah, very confusing.
I wonder if a lot of people use that app in our area. I've heard about it.
I remember when you said the app Nextdoor, it did not ring a bell, but then as you went into the story, I'm like, I remember that, maybe not last year, because I don't even know what we were doing on Halloween last year.
Yeah, it was
maybe
like
a couple years ago.
There was a way to market if somebody was giving out like the big full-size candy bars or something.
Right. I think it was. I think it was
wrong.
also kid safety and knowing like where the neighborhoods to just kind of what was going on in your neighborhood kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. So I did remember it after you said that, and I actually think that's from a couple years ago. I don't think that's from last year because I remember last year we were like, do we go trick-or-treating? What do we do? Oh, right. Heck if we know. All right, our daily almanac on this October the 4th would put our average high at 75. We'll be a little bit below that. Our average low at 52. Well, we have dipped a little bit below that. Not at Joplin, sitting at 54 right now, but we have been down into the high 40s is in Neodesha, you see in Parsons. Southwest Missouri has been consistently 54 and 55, as has Miami. Fort Scott and Nevada, both now down to 49 as well. Speaking of Fort Scott and Nevada, that's the closest cloud cover that we see. Coming off of last week, those are our totals. Tanya and I were just talking about recap in September, working into October here when we get to the KOAM News at noon. Fog has not lessened. Was really hoping it would about this time, but it's still hanging around, especially in the low-lying areas on 69 and 49, working from north to south. Temperatures 78 this afternoon, whole lot of sunshine, really no shot for rain until it gets very scattered on Wednesday, and then a heat wave for Friday through Sunday. We'll be back right after this.
Extreme weather events are increasing in intensity and frequency around the globe, and once again, world leaders will come together for COP26, I guess that's what it's called, to find solutions to keep the climate crisis from getting worse. Yeah, we've seen this movie before, and some climate advocates are skeptical that real progress will be made.
Devastating floods, raging wildfires, monstrous hurricanes. Extreme weather events are increasing in intensity and frequency before our eyes. Signs that the planet is warming at an alarming rate, and it's affecting our lives and our livelihoods. World leaders will again come together to address the climate crisis and the larger issue of what is being done to prevent it from getting worse. This year's event, COP26. The United Nations has put on the Climate Change Summit for nearly 3 decades. This conference of the parties is attended by countries that signed the UN's Framework Convention on Climate Change in 1994. The 12-day event will be held in Glasgow in Scotland and is hosted by the UK and Italy. More than 190 world leaders are expected to attend, along with tens of thousands of negotiators, government representatives, businesses and citizens. To secure global net zero emissions by mid-century and keep 1.5 degrees Celsius of global warming compared to pre-industrial temperatures within reach, countries must meet their emissions reductions targets, adapt to protect communities and natural habitats, and they must mobilise finance. Countries have to deliver on raising at least $100 billion in climate finance each year, something that was agreed to more than a decade ago in 2010 when the UNFCCC developed the Green Climate Fund and worked together to deliver on these goals. The organisers say the talks will be the world's best last chance to get the runaway climate crisis under control. And time is running out. We've seen this movie before. Big conferences year after year where leaders commit to implementing policies, yet little is done.
Our leaders' intentional lack of action is a betrayal towards all present and future generations. The people in power cannot claim that they are trying, because they are clearly not.
While some climate advocates are sceptical about the possibility for real change, after so many parts of the world have been impacted by recent extreme weather events, event leaders are hopeful that this time the goals are attainable.
With today's four-state hero.
Ace the Big Project.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero. Roland Peak served in the U.S. Army from 1918 to 1919. A native of Girard, Kansas, Peak fought in World War I. For his service to our country, we thank you, Private Roland Peak, our four-state hero. A New Hampshire man is recovering after going into cardiac arrest after jumping in to help save a woman from a burning home. Mike Cronin talks to the Good Samaritan who gave him CPR after also helping rescue the elderly woman.
We got you!
Lariana Garvis recorded the harrowing scene on her cell phone.
The windows were getting blown out from the flames.
Friday night, she was driving by a house fire on Forest Park Drive in Nashua. Garvis flagged down another driver, saying that person and a neighbor kicked in the front door. Moments later, rushing out, carrying a 97-year-old woman.
We got you!
Huh?
We got you! Across the street! Across the street! Get her across
Is anybody
the
else
street.
in the house? No.
She was still in her little living room chair, her little velour chair. She was just sitting in there. She did have some burns.
Out of the house along with her dog, it seemed everyone was safe. But then...
Is he okay?
The neighbor who helped rescue that woman then collapsed.
Is he vomiting?
No.
Roll him on his side. Roll him on his side.
Firefighters say he went into cardiac arrest.
Is he breathing? I realized my phone was still in my hand, so I just kind of tossed my phone and just instantly started compressions. I didn't stop. I kept talking to him. I said, listen, man, I said, you just saved her. You're not dying.
Garvis continued CPR right up until EMTs took the man away by ambulance. She says he's recovering now. She talked to him on Saturday.
He said, I don't remember it, but I love you for it. And he said, you did a number because I am sore.
Garvis can laugh about it now, but she says it was a terrifying situation. She and the others were in the right place at the right time.
Everyone can be a hero every single day. You never really know what's going to happen to you. I was just, driving home and I just happened to see it.
Wow, it took a team of people to make that recovery. Wow. No word yet on the current condition of the 97-year-old woman. Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. And coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, you can now stay in the Scream House. We'll tell you how. And an arrest made in the murder of a football player. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
Four States' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:28. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Police in Miami, Oklahoma helped take down an alleged California drug kingpin accused of shipping thousands of pounds of meth to the four-state area. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke with Miami's chief of police to learn more.
Luis Alfredo Jacobo is now behind bars. This alleged California kingpin is accused of running drug rings that brought around 2,000 pounds of meth to northern Oklahoma and southwest Missouri.
This ring was just bringing in tons and tons of methamphetamine, starting in Mexico, bringing it in through California, over to Oklahoma and the distribution network here through the Midwest.
Jacobo was arrested on Monday in Bakersfield, California, and one of the arresting officers is a member of the Miami Police Department. The Miami PD teamed up with police in Grove, the DEA, the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, and many other investigative agencies to bring Jacobo and his conspirators to justice.
They started this case, worked it here, worked the case backwards up through the kingpin, if you will, and flew out there with the DEA task force and finished up their case.
Miami Police Chief Thomas Anderson says local low-level arrests helped his team connect meth in Miami to the larger drug ring.
There were several local arrests, and you end up going to their buyer, their just working your way up the chain. But it does start with just local people using drugs and getting arrested.
9 other people were arrested with Jacobo on various drug conspiracy and criminal enterprise charges, including William Donovan Johnson III and Shawnee Brianne Kalaji of Grove and Kelly Wayne Bryan of Joplin. In Miami, Oklahoma, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Miami Police Chief Thomas Anderson also says he expects more local arrests connected to the drug ring. Missouri's Child Welfare Agency does not properly report missing foster children, and that's according to a new federal report. The report from the U.S. Inspector General's office also found that the agency does little to ensure that kids who were missing and are found do not go missing again. The federal agency recommended that Missouri develop strategies for identifying foster children who are at risk of going missing and better monitor caseworkers to ensure they follow reporting requirements involving foster children. In Miami, organizers of the 8th annual Miami Festival planned to head for the rain and move the event inside the Civic Center. There, a number of vendors set up shop to offer a variety of wares to local residents and visitors. This year marked the first time live music was featured, and it wasn't just performances, it was a band competition.
Miami is a musical town. We have a lot of artists that have originated from here, and so we are basically, all of us are working together to make Miami a music industry community.
There were 2 events scheduled for the festival that have been rescheduled for later this year. City of Neosho held its annual fall festival on Saturday despite the rain across the area. Around 140 vendors set up shop along the square, providing a number of unique items for folks to browse through and purchase. Of course, food was also available from several vendors. In addition to the vendors, there was live music, a history alley, and even a car show. However, that didn't stop the rain from causing a few concerns.
I was a little worried. We were supposed to have bounce houses. They weren't able to come because of the rain. So I was a little worried that more people would cancel, but everybody's come out, and I think everybody's doing well on sales, and it seems like there's, people at every single booth looking at things.
Festival has been going on for about 60 years now. Porch Fest is back in the Northern Heights neighborhood in Joplin's historic Murfreesburg district. Porch Fest, of course, isn't a celebration of porches, rather a celebration from porches. There were artisans, food trucks, and the best part of all, a number of bands scheduled to perform. Bands set up on porches throughout the neighborhood, offering a walking concert for those in attendance. Porch Fest was started in 2017. Cotty College in Nevada hosted its 12th annual Multicultural Festival yesterday. The event highlighted a number of world cultures and celebrated diversity. This year's event was smaller than it has been in the past, but still included international foods prepared by Cotty College students, performances showcasing a variety of cultures, educational displays, and a whole lot more.
It's our way of giving back to the community. It's our way of sharing what makes us unique as an institution. And specifically, it's a way for our international students, our international faculty and staff to kind of give back, but also showcase where they're from and why it's important.
Organizers say the event also helps strengthen Cotty's connection to local communities. Oh, Boston, you really know how to make a guy feel special, especially if that guy is former New England Patriot Tom Brady. Check out this parade of goats Saturday ahead of Brady's return to the city. And naturally, these goats had on Patriots gear as a way to roast Boston's former GOAT, as in greatest of all time. Brady took the Patriots to 6 Super Bowl wins, but now plays with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and helped that team get its first win with a ring. Brady faced his old team on the field on Sunday. Bud Light organized the GOAT parade to celebrate the game.
Judge, just don't do the last line.
Why?
Okay, do the last line. Do the last line.
Do you think it's a bad line?
Go ahead and come on, put some gusto into it.
It's not. No, you wanted to do it. You know it. Go for it.
Anyway, did you get a chance to watch any of last night's game?
No, I did not.
Tampa Bay wins, 19-17. It sounded like a good game. I was asleep by halftime, so I didn't get to see the second half. But we knew he was going to set the all-time passing record. He needed 68 yards coming in. They gave you a little thing on the bottom of your screen showing how close he was. And there was much talk and debate yesterday, Sunday morning, on radio about how they were going to celebrate this. Breaking the all-time record, doing so as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, but doing so in New England.
In New England. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he breaks the record, okay?
Okay.
Throws a pass down the field. Referee spots it. So now it looks like he's tied the record, okay? And Tampa Bay's driving. The referee takes the ball, re-spots it forward a yard, meaning Tom Brady had just broken the record. Everybody was caught off guard when the referee spotted the ball a yard forward, and they just flashed this thing up on the scoreboard. It says Tom Brady, all-time NFL record holder. That was the extent of it. And I don't think it wasn't pettiness that they did this. It was because the referee decided to move the ball forward a yard, and then everybody was like, oh my God, that means he just broke the record.
Not a tie, a break.
Oh, yeah, not well choreographed. That was for sure.
Was it badly choreographed?
Thank you. I'm glad you got to squeeze that in. Live look outside of Television City. Hello, Glow Cloud. We are off to just a gorgeous, gorgeous Monday morning start. There we are over 7th and Rangeline. It's cool outside. No need for the air conditioner, that's for sure. Probably roll down those windows, maybe even bump up the heater, where we see some high 40s hanging on in Neodesha and in Parsons, 55 in Neosho and Anderson. Pittsburgh slipping down to 49 as well, and 54 right now in Miami. Little cloud cover, but that stayed way up to the north. Just recapping last week, there we go. Anywhere from really 1.5 to 2.5 inches, unless you're in that southern portion of southwest Missouri, where we actually got close to about 4.5 inches of rain. Going to make it up into the high 70s today. Whole lot of sunshine. Going to be calm, cool, collected, and fall weather really for the next 4 days. Chance for light scattered rain on Wednesday. And then get ready for a heat wave. A little taste of summer returning from Friday through Sunday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. A record-setting Spanish artist now has a star in Hollywood, and a special treat for fans of the Scream movies. Anthony Pura with our Eye on Entertainment.
Hey, come on in. This is going to be fun. You can stay if you dare in the house used in the original Scream movie. Airbnb has listed the Northern California home in commemoration of the film's 25th anniversary and upcoming sequel. Lucky fans will be greeted virtually by local Sheriff Dewey Riley, played by David Arquette. 3 one-night stays are available starting October 27th for $5 a night. Reservations open October 12th. Find out more on the Airbnb website.
There's something wrong here.
Paramount Plus has rolled out Peak Screaming, a month-long Halloween event featuring horror movies and seasonal episodes of iconic shows. The event includes the premiere of the film Paranormal Activity: Next of Kin, along with the season 2 finale of Evil. Catch all of it on Paramount Plus.
Why don't you stop and think it over?
Marie Osmond's upcoming album, Unexpected, contains a little bit of everything, from opera to classics to Broadway tunes. The star says the pandemic helped her slow down and use that time to take her singing career in a new direction.
This album, this is me pushing myself to be something other than what you perceive Marie to be.
The album is set for release December 10th. And Spanish artist Alejandro Sanz now has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The salsa and flamenco singer and composer received the honor Friday. Sanz has won 4 Grammy Awards and 25 Latin Grammy Awards. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Anthony Pura, CBS News, Los Angeles.
So while we're talking about entertainment and movies, let's talk about the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, as theaters are starting to see crowds again. With the approach of the holiday season, studios releasing highly anticipated titles. You had Venom, and also, as I mentioned of earlier, if you have 18 hours on your hands, the re-release and remake of Dune. Now, for many months now, the practice has been releasing movies to streaming platforms like Netflix, HBO Max, and of course, theaters have suffered financially for it. We've seen the massive layoffs and the theater closures. Venom setting a new, what they're calling a pandemic-era record at the box office, which I just wonder, time to head back to the theater, or now that we've all gotten used to it, will you stream movies instead? This started off overwhelmingly in favor of theaters. We saw it as high as 85%, and now we've done a complete flip-flop. Right now, 54% of you say, no, like I'm good at home in the living room with my own popcorn and pausing it when I want. You can always make your voice heard each and every morning. KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or connect to us via our Facebook page. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Your mail could take longer to reach you under a new plan that took effect on Friday. The Postmaster General is slowing down some deliveries and raising prices. He wants to balance the Postal Service budget. As Errol Barnett reports, critics say it will cause serious damage.
I've been coming up here every week asking, where's my mail?
Marissa Taylor relies on the post office to deliver her paychecks that she uses to take care of her two siblings with special needs.
They keep giving me the same answer, which is, oh, you have a new driver, it'll be out today. You don't get mail that day.
Taylor went without mail for days over the summer, and new changes from the U.S. Postal Service mean more delays could be in her future. In March, Postmaster General Louis DeJoy announced a new 10-year plan that promises to cut debt and modernize the agency.
We haven't been funded in 10 years. You can't pass any legislation. Can't pass any legislation that helps. If I could just finish this point.
But it comes at a cost. Almost 40% of first-class mail could take up to 5 days to arrive instead of up to 3 days. And sending holiday cheer will be pricier as well, with postage rates increasing up to $5 more per package until December 26th.
I see a bright future ahead for the Postal Service.
DeJoy has been a controversial head of the Postal Service since June of 2020. Before the election, the former businessman and top GOP donor made changes to the service, including removing mailboxes. Many rallied nationwide against what they saw as voter suppression. And earlier this year, 21 state attorneys general asked the Postal Regulatory Commission to reject the new plan, saying it could disproportionately impact elderly and rural residents as well as individuals with disabilities.
These cuts, plain and simple, are illegal.
Now, we should also highlight that many Americans rely on this service for the delivery of their medicines. CBS News spoke with one man who's already experienced delays in receiving his heart and behavioral medications, and he's now concerned that will happen more often. If you're also worried, the general advice is to send things a few days early or consider another service. Errol Barnett, CBS News, Washington.
We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Salt Lake City police arrested a suspect for the murder of a University of Utah football player. Police announced the arrest early Sunday morning, 1 week after 22-year-old Aaron Lowe was killed. Officials said another 22-year-old, Book M. Book, was booked into jail on suspicion of aggravated murder, attempted murder, and felony discharge of a firearm. Police said Book is also accused of shooting and wounding a 20-year-old woman the same day, a victim that's still in critical condition. Ariel Harrison with the details.
Within the last 4 years, robbery and retail theft convictions. Utah court records reveal that 22-year-old Book and Book is no stranger to law enforcement.
When I talked to Aaron's mother on Monday, I made her a promise. We would find her son's alleged killer.
The probable cause statement says at last week's murder scene, Book arrived at the house party and got his hands on a pistol from a bag nearby. Now, witnesses watched him walk down the driveway and across the street where he fired 2 to 3 gunshots at Lowe and a woman standing there. They immediately fell to the ground. Now, documents say he then walked up to the two, and as they were there on the ground, shot 5 to 6 more times. Lowe died there on the pavement. Emergency responders rushed the woman to the hospital in critical condition.
I'm currently a college student, and for someone like my age to go through something so tragic, like, they have like a future ahead of them.
Mina Rivera lives in West Valley City.
It's kind of scary because I don't want to focus on shootings. I want to focus on my general education and getting the most I can with life.
She, like many, is extremely alarmed by this brutal Salt Lake City shooting and the rising number of them.
We are seeing too much gun violence across the country and our city. Sadly, Salt Lake City is not immune to that gun violence.
Salt Lake Mayor Aaron Mendenhall says the city's police department needs more help.
As a state, we are down more than 600 police officers across all the departments. Salt Lake City is unfortunately still down 55 paid positions.
The mayor and chief both praising police for this arrest.
The work of our Salt Lake City Police Department gives Aaron Lowe's family and our entire capital city community a step toward justice, as Chief talked about.
Both leaders acknowledging that nothing will bring the beloved son, brother, friend, and talented student athlete back.
Coming off of that, no easy transition, but let's go ahead and jump to our current conditions over 7th and Rangeline in Joplin, where the sun now illuminating about half of the intersection, and temperatures have been very stagnant, sitting at 54 degrees and high humidity, already up to 93%. We've actually had our pre-sunrise drop in our temps. That's why we've got a lot more photos than certainly what we started out with about 2 hours ago. We're down to 48 right now in Pittsburgh, Parsons, and Neodesha. Southwest Missouri's been consistently in the mid-50s. That's 54. Carthage, Neosho, and Monette. And Miami been stuck at 54 as well. Seeing a little light cloud cover up to the north. This thing just kind of moved in from northeastern Kansas, just kind of fell down on us, but no precipitation with it. Speaking of precipitation, though, here's a little recap from where we had go back to last week when we started there on Thursday and all the way through the weekend, anywhere from really 1.5 inches to about 2.5 inches. But I want to isolate down here in the southern portion of southwest Missouri. Drop that one in Newton County right there. That's essentially 4 inches of rain. Work into Mack County, where we're talking another 3.5 to 4 inches of rain as well. That being said, we do not have any advisories, warnings, or watches associated with flooding. Now, one thing that we do have, we still have some light fog, especially along I-49 and Highway 69, working north to south. Visibility numbers aren't bad, but you get in those low-lying areas, know that you're going to run into that. So just slow down. Don't be in a hurry this morning. Skywatch Storm Tracker, look at the jet stream. Comes right off the Pacific up to Canada and then just straight down to the south and makes a big L shape right there. And what that's going to do is actually force all the precipitation for today east of the Mississippi. And so when we talk about the severe thunderstorm risk map, that's where that will all be. Now, speaking of some severe weather, let's wrap up our Atlantic Basin as we head into a new week. Sam still category 2, just about parallel there with the northern point of Maine, and so it shouldn't pose any problems. It's pretty much done. And then speaking of being done, Victor is done. Victor now post-tropical, and so we're going to sit back and actually we're going to look at this one right here in between Cuba and Puerto Rico and see if it doesn't develop into a named storm by the end of this week. Our afternoon planner, sunny skies, not a worry in the world. Very nice fall-like temperatures, not only for today, but we'll be able to carry that for the next 4 days. A little scattered rain on Wednesday, nothing to write home about. Then a heat wave gonna come get us just in time for the weekend. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. One of the largest oil spills in recent Southern California history closed off miles of popular beaches over the weekend. A leaking pipeline is believed to be the source of the massive spill. It sent more than 100,000 gallons of oil into the Pacific Ocean. Birds washed ashore in some areas as the slick stretched from Huntington Beach to Newport Beach. As of today, New York City public school employees are required to have received at least their first COVID-19 vaccine. The new mandate goes into effect as children nationwide are facing higher COVID infection and hospitalization rates. And the 49th annual Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is beautifying the skies over New Mexico once again. The event was canceled last year because of the pandemic. A Purdue cheerleader did a belly flop. Let's check this video out. Oh, gosh. That looks painful. In a puddle on the sidelines during the Minnesota-Purdue game. No information listed why she did that, but it looks like it was planned. Minnesota beat Purdue 20-13 at the Ross-Ade Stadium.
It's rainy, it's cold, she's having a good time. It did look painful, I'm not gonna lie to you about that.
Yeah, that's what when I was looking over the script for that story, I was like, was this on purpose? Did she fall off of something? No. It was like everyone was gathered around and said, you need to face plant, and she did it.
Well, but look, you can tell that her peers clearly cheering her on.
She caught herself with her hands. She did. Very safe.
Don't succumb to peer pressure.
Wildlife now offers an all-new expedition with our